let me do that at home, huh? And I hit my space.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. This is not even a week in here.
Yeah, that's good.
You have your music soundtrack?
Okay, so come into a comfy seated position at the top of your mat. You can put your blanket underneath your hips if you'd like, for your hips to be elevated if you have really tight hips, or you can just sit on your mat directly. And place your palms on your thighs, either face up or face down, whichever you prefer. And go ahead and close your eyes and just take a couple breaths, not manipulating the breath at all, but just letting it be as it is. And just taking a couple seconds to drop into the present moment, since you were both flying in here from work, or one of you at least. So just take a couple deep breaths. Again, not really changing anything, just noticing what the breath is like in this moment. Maybe it's a little shallow, maybe it's deeper, maybe there are places in the body where it feels a little bit hard to get breath to. And just kind of taking a second to settle down. And in today's practice, the theme of the class is going to be using your breath to come back into the present moment. So using it as a tool on our mat today as we practice, and then using it as a tool out of the class when we come into stressful moments outside of this room. So I will be teaching you both a breath practice that is a beginner breath practice. It's very easy and it can be used at all times. And we're going to use the yoga today to practice this. And yoga is a really good example of healthy stress on the body as we get into poses that might not be the most comfortable or might arise some stress in the mind. And so using the breath to kind of work on that on the mat so that we can take it off the mat when we leave today. So on your next inhale, go ahead and open your eyes. And we're going to start with teaching this breath practice. So I will go through what it is, and then I'll demo it, and then you guys get to do it as well. So this breath practice is called Ujjayi breath. It translates to victorious breath. You might have heard it before if you've gone to a yoga class, because it's the most common breath that's used in yoga. And the reason for that is because it is most accessible when you're in certain poses. So if you're in forward fold or in your deep twist, this breath is really easy to do because it's mostly dominant in the chest region. It is an audible breath, so you can hear it, which is partly also why it is really good in bringing us back into the present moment, because if you get into a place of discomfort or stress, you can kind of use this breath to come back to what is present, what is real. So the sound that it sounds like is like the waves of an ocean coming to shore and washing away from shore, or if you pick up a shell and put it to your ear, that's kind of the sound that you would hear. Or Darth Vader, I think is what it sounds like also. So I'm going to demo it, and then you guys can do it as well. In order to do this breath, you can be sitting down or laying down. Some people actually prefer to be laying down, but for this, we're going to be seated. So I'm going to take a seated position with a straight spine and neck, straight but not stiff. And then I'm going to tilt my head down a little bit and tuck my chin in so that my throat is a little bit constricted, which is going to help with the noise. And then as I'm inhaling and exhaling, I'm going to have a hollow throat, which is going to help with the noise as well. So I'll do a couple rounds. Obviously, I can't talk and do it at the same time. But another thing that you can do if you're finding that it's hard to create the sound is you can do it with your mouth open. And then once you feel like you have the sound down, you can close your lips. So this is what it sounds like. if you find it hard when you're first starting, you can open your mouth. So what that would sound like is, and then once you get it, you can just close your mouth. So you'll feel a slight constriction in the throat, and that's what you're gonna also have from taking your chin down. So we'll go through a few rounds with both of us, and one round is one exhale and one inhale. Typically, if you are doing this pranayama by itself, like in the morning or in traffic or after you had a stressful moment, you would want to do 4 to 5 or more rounds. So one round is an inhale and an exhale. So let's do it together. We'll take one deep inhale and one exhale out through the mouth just to prepare, and then we'll do one inhale and we'll continue doing the rounds. And for this, you can close your eyes. That way you can really tap into what it feels like. And then just also notice the shift that it might have on your body as you continue to do this breath, and how that feels different than the breath that was natural when you first walked in. So let's take one deep inhale together through the nose, and then one exhale through the mouth, and then one deep inhale through the nose to prepare. And we'll start our Ujjayi breath. One more round, another round. And when you're done, go ahead and open your eyes. Okay, so we'll use this breath through our practice today. You might feel a sense of ease or a little bit more present, a little bit more calm. This is a breath that's really good to use, again, in just moments of anger or even stress or tension. So as we go through these poses and we get our heart rate up and we get through our hard practice, this will be what we use to just bring us back to the present moment. So go ahead and come to the top of your mat, and we will start in mountain pose. Today's class is going to be a beginner level hatha class and this will be alignment based. So I'm going to go through the alignment principles with you in mountain pose, and then we'll use these alignment principles throughout the entire class. So come to the top of your mat and place your feet inner hip distance apart. Inner hip distance, not outer hip distance. So if you're a little bit wide, you can step it in just a little bit. Imagine that you have a line going from the base of your ankle to the base of your second toe, and then parallel those lines with each other. Good, good. You want to be grounding through all 4 corners of your foot. So starting with the corner underneath your big toe, or mound underneath your big toe, and then going to the mound underneath your inner heel, mound underneath your baby toe, mound underneath your outer heel. Spread your toes wide and grip them into the mat, grounding evenly through all 4 of those corners. That looks good. So the first alignment principle that we'll talk about is hugging the midline. And how we're going to do this, there's a few different ways, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to isometrically draw our feet towards each other. So it's basically moving your feet towards each other without moving your feet towards each other. Isometrics means movement without movement. Another way to think of it is imagine that you have a block in between your thighs and then you're hugging into that block. So as you do this, you might feel your inner thighs start to shake as they are engaged. Always invite the shaking through practice, because basically we're just unraveling old tendencies and letting go of anything that we don't need. So continue to isometrically draw your feet towards each other. And then the next alignment principle that we're going to do is we're going to take the top of our thigh bones back towards the back of the room. And what that looks like is sticking out your butt. And the reason that we're doing that is because we want to create room and space. So we're basically hollowing the groin so that when we go through our poses, we can stretch the psoas muscles a little bit more and just have a hollow groin. So keeping your thigh bones back, the next thing you're going to do is wrap your glutes down and around your hips and then tuck your tailbone down to the floor. When you do that, you'll feel engagement in your lower body, and that's a good cue to your body that you did it right. If you didn't feel that, you can kind of reassess and make sure that you're taking the top of the thigh bones back and keeping that, and then wrapping the glutes down and around your hips and tucking your tailbone. So what you might feel in your legs right now is that we've created a really stable and sturdy base, and the upper part of our body might feel a little bit more free because of that. So on your next inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the top of your head so that your side body is long. Your side body is the space from your hip to your armpit, so you want that to be really long. Keeping that space on exhale, bring your shoulders back towards the back of the room and bring your shoulder blades together on the back. Bring your hands, palms facing forward, lower your eyelids, and start your Ujjayi breath. So this mountain pose might feel a little different than a mountain pose you might have done before. And that's because we've really stacked all of the alignment principles from bottom to top. We've created a really solid base that's going to keep us safe in practice. And with that solid base, we've also created a little bit more freedom in the upper part of the body. So again, in today's practice, if you feel the shakes through the poses, I invite you to say thank you, because basically those are your old tendencies that are shaking away as we create these new habits. So take a couple more deep breaths here and just feel what it feels. Another thing that we're doing also is we're activating a couple different energy channels in the body. An energy channel that moves down from the navel down to the floor to root us down, and then an energy channel that's moving up from the navel to the sky that kind of lifts us up. So you might feel that through the practice as well. So go ahead and take an exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, bring your hands up, palms touch. And exhale, bring your hands to the floor, fingertips to the floor. On your next inhale, halfway lift, bring your chest and gaze forward. Fingertips can be on the floor, on your shins. You can bend your knees here if your hamstrings are tight. Exhale, forward fold into your legs. We'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, halfway lift, bringing your gaze and chest forward. Again, bending your knees if your hamstrings are tight. Exhale, fold into your legs, letting go. We'll just do this one more time. Inhaling, halfway lift, gaze, chest forward. And exhale, forward fold. Place your hands on the mat and step back into downward facing dog. Taking a look at our foundation. Foundation is anything that is touching the earth. So in downward facing dog, it's going to be your hands and your feet. So take a look at your hands. Make sure that your hands, the outer wrist creases are in line with the outer edge of the mat. Your palms are grounded into the mat. Similar to your feet, there are four corners of the palm. So you've got the base underneath your index finger, base underneath your thumb, and then outer edge of the palm and base underneath the pinky. Make sure that all of those are grounded down evenly, and then grip the mat with your 5 finger pads almost so tightly or that you see the white in your fingertips. And this is going to create really a lot of strength in your hand, and also alleviates pressure off of the wrist, which we want. Again, a bend in the knees is great if you have tight hamstrings. And for this first downward dog, you can walk it out a little bit here. So if you'd like, you can bend your left leg, straighten the right leg, bend the right leg, straighten the back leg. Again, here we're going to activate our Ujjayi breath, so hollowing out the throat and starting to use the breath that we learned earlier today. Sounds good. Once you've found stillness, on an inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the sky, almost like you're making a big I don't know. On your exhale, soften between the shoulder blades so that you start to melt the upper back. One more time we'll do that. So inhale, bringing the shoulders, armpits up towards the sky, and then on the exhale, softening between the shoulder blades so that the upper back begins to melt. Good. Inhale, bring your left leg up towards the sky. And on an exhale, bring your left foot in between your palms. Come up to fingertips and lower your back knee down to the mat or blanket if that helps. Curl your back toes under so that we have a nice foot stretch. That looks great. So the first thing we're going to do is isometrically draw our front foot and our back knee towards each other, turning on the inner thighs and squaring the hips to the front of the room. Keep those isometrics, and on an inhale, bring your hands to your hips. And you'll notice that you might have floated up, which both of you did. Again, really creating strength and stability in the legs so that the upper body can be more free. So keep hugging into the midline, keep the isometrics between the front foot and the back knee. Now turn the top of the right thigh into the midline to follow the groin. Turning this thigh, good. Now keep that, wrap your right glute down, or your left glute, left glute down and around your hip and tuck your tailbone towards the floor, feeling your abdomen engage. And then keeping all of that alignment in the lower part of the body, inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the top of your head so that your side body is long. Keep that, exhale, bring your shoulder blades together on the back. Good. From that hug, lift your arms up towards the sky, palms facing each other for a low lunge. Again, coming into our Ujjayi breath here once more, bringing us back to present moment. Lifting our gaze and chest up towards the sky. Making sure that the front knee is directly over the front ankle, so if it needs to go forward just a couple inches, then you can step your foot forward. This will look really good. And as you continue to bend into that knee, you'll feel a nice stretch in your right groin area and your right psoas. A couple more deep breaths here. And on your next exhale, frame your front foot, step back to downward facing dog, and let that go. Pedal your legs out a couple times here. Feel the difference between your left and right side. Taking a couple more deep breaths. And again, on the inhale, lifting the shoulders up towards the sky. And on an exhale, melting between the shoulder blades so that your upper back begins to melt, or softening between the shoulder blades. What we're doing when we do this is we want to take the weight out of our joints and into the muscles. So by doing that, we're taking it out of the shoulder joints and we're placing it in the upper back, which is what we want. So one more time, inhaling, bringing the shoulders up towards the sky. Exhale, soften between the shoulder blades so the upper back begins to melt. That's good, Caitlin. Inhale, bring your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, place your right leg in between your palms. Come up to fingertips, lower your right knee down to a mat or a blanket. Make sure that your front knee is directly over your front ankle, so if you need to step it a couple inches up, go ahead and do that. Keeping your toes curled under. Isometrically draw your back knee and your front foot towards each other to turn on the inner thighs and square the hips to the front of the room. You want your hips to be square to the front of the room for this, so take a moment to check that. Good job. Now keeping that hug into the midline, on an inhale, float your hands up to your hips. Again, seeing how easy it is and how buoyant you might feel from the hug that we have going on and the alignment in the body as well. So keeping that hug into the midline, go ahead and turn the top of your left thigh into the midline to follow the groin. When you do that, you might feel more space to let your front foot maybe come a couple more inches towards the front of the room, which will allow more of a stretch in your groin as well. So keep turning the top of your left thigh into the midline. Keep that, wrap your right glute down and around your hip and tuck your tailbone. So we're wrapping this glute down. Keep all of that alignment in the lower part of the body. Now inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the top of your head so your side body is long. Keep that. Exhale, bring the shoulders back. Shoulder blades hug together on the back. From that hug, lift your arms up to the sky, palms facing each other for low lunge. Coming back to our Ujjayi breath once again if we've lost it. Beautiful. On every inhale, allowing a little bit more length, and on the exhales, you can lean into your back foot and bring your chest towards the sky, gaze up if you'd like. Again, inviting any shakes that happen, as what we're shaking away are things that are not serving of us any longer, and we're creating space for the new things that are. And almost inviting the shaking as, again, just something to say thank you to, as we no longer need that. One more breath, and on the next exhale, frame the front foot and step back to downward facing dog. And let that go. Inhale, raise your left foot up towards the sky. Exhale, place your left foot in between your palms. Lower your back heel to the mat and point your back toes to the upper right corner of the mat. So you're going to lower your back heel, you can lift your knee up. Oh, back heel, yeah. So you're going to... Sorry. So you're going to lower the back heel, yeah, so your heel's going to be flat, and then your toes are going to be pointed to the upper right corner of the mat. Good. Then come up to fingertips. Isometrically draw your back foot and your front foot towards each other to square your hips to the front of the room and turn on your inner thighs. Keeping that isometric movement, go ahead and inhale, float your hands to your hips once again. So if you find that your hips are not square, try to re-square them to the front of the room, and it could be helpful if you widen your stance also. That might feel a little bit better. So go ahead and play around with that. You do want your back foot to be pointing at like a 45-degree angle-ish, if that feels good. And then bring the bend into your front knee so that your knee is directly over your ankle. Good. Nice. So keep isometrically drawing your front foot and your back foot towards each other. And turn your right thigh into the midline to hollow the groin. So it's going to be this thigh turning into the midline. Nice. Again, once you do that, you might feel more space to bend a little bit more into the front knee. So I would invite coming a couple more inches forward so that your knee is directly over your ankle. That looks good. Now keep turning the top of your right thigh into the midline, and now wrap your left glute down and around your hip and tuck your tailbone towards the floor. Lower abdomen engages here. Nice, that looks great. Keep all that alignment in the lower part of the body. Now inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the top of your head so that your side body is long. Keep that length. Exhale, bring the shoulders back. Shoulder blades hug together on the back. From that hug, lift your arms up towards the sky, palms facing each other for warrior one. Again, working with our Ujjayi breath here once again. Coming back to the present moment. If our mind is starting to chatter and wonder when we're going to get out of this pose or how many more standing poses there are, coming back to the breath and really coming back to the present moment and knowing that that is always there for you as a tool. On your last breath, take your gaze up to the sky. And on your exhale, frame your front foot, step back to downward facing dog, and let that go. walking the legs out, feeling the difference between the two sides. Taking a moment, if you lost the breath, just to come back to it and come back to the present moment. And again, Ujjayi translates to victorious, victorious breath. So how can you be victorious in bringing yourself back to a softer place, in a place of ease, in a place that is not stressed out? Inhale, lift the right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the right foot in between the palms. Come up onto fingertips and lower the back heel, pointing the back toes to the upper left corner of the mat at a 45-degree angle-ish. Bend into the front knee so that your front knee is directly over your front ankle. Isometrically draw your front foot and your back foot towards each other, turning on the inner thighs and squaring the hips to the front of the room. Keep that inhale, float the hands to the hips. Bend your knee so it's directly over your ankle. Very good. Nice. That was good. Now keeping the isometrics between the legs, turn the top of the left thigh in to hollow the groin. Keep that and wrap your right glute down and around your hip. Tuck your tailbone to the floor. Look at your front knee, make sure it's directly over your ankle. Both can bend a little bit more. Nice. Keeping all of that alignment in the lower part of the body, inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the sky so your side body is long. Exhale, bring your shoulders back. Shoulder blades hug together on the back. From that hug, lift your arms up to the sky, palms facing each other for Warrior One. Coming back to your Ujjayi breath, and once again asking, how can I be victorious and soften in this moment? On your next exhale, frame your front foot, step back into downward facing dog, and let that go. Let's go ahead and come into child's pose. So go ahead and bring your knees to the mat. Knees as wide as the mat. Sit your hips to your heels. Bow forward, arms extended out. Taking a moment here to check in with the body and check in with the breath. Taking a moment to slow the breath and using this slowing of the breath to come back into the present moment. more deep breath, in through the nose and out through the nose, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, bringing the left leg up towards the sky. And exhale, place the left foot in between the palms. Lower the back heel to the mat and line up the outer edge of your back heel with the outer edge of the mat. So the outer edge of your foot, yeah, perfect. It's gonna be the outer edge of the mat. Take a look and make sure that your front heel is in line with the arch of your back foot. Come up to fingertips and bend your knees so that your ankle is directly over your, knees directly over your ankle. Good. Now isometrically draw your front foot and your back foot towards each other, turning on your inner thighs. Keep that inhale, raise your arms up and place your wrists over your ankles, going into warrior two. Very good. Continue to isometrically draw your front foot and your back foot towards each other, engaging your inner thighs, hugging into the midline. Bend into your front knee so your knee is directly over your ankle. Turn the top of your right thigh into the midline to hollow the groin. Good. Keep that. Now wrap your left glute down and around your hip. Tuck your tailbone towards the floor. Keep all of that alignment in the lower part of your body. Now inhale, bring your shoulders up towards your sky so that your side body is long. Exhale, bring your shoulders back. Shoulder blades hug together on the back. Good. For warrior two. Continue to bend into your front knee as if I could place a glass of water on that thigh and it's completely parallel to the mat. Nice. Couple inches. If you need to widen your stance, go ahead and do so. And then again, realign the legs. So turning the top of the right thigh into the midline to hollow the groin and wrapping your left glute down and around your hip. Tuck your tailbone to the floor. Inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the top of your head. Keep that. Exhale, bring the shoulders back. Shoulder blades are hugging on the back. Gaze over your middle front finger for warrior two and breathe. Continue to come back to the breath, come back to the Ujjayi breath. Again, if your thighs begin to shake, allow the shaking. Know that you are shedding the layers that you do not need. Those layers are going onto the floor and creating fertilizer in the soil from which you will then grow. So one more deep breath here. And on your exhale, frame your front foot, step back to downward facing dog and let that go. Or crawl back to downward facing dog. Again, just taking note of the different sides of the body and taking a moment, if you did lose your breath, just to come back to it by slowing it down a lot. On your next inhale, raise your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bring your right foot in between your palms. Lower your back heel to the mat and line up the outer edge of your heel with the outer edge of the mat. Take a look and make sure that your front heel is lined up with the back arch. If not, adjust your stance. That looks good. Both of you. Isometrically draw your front foot and your back foot towards each other, turning on the inner thighs. Keep that. Inhale, bring your arms up, wrists over ankles. For warrior two. Good. Now continuing to isometrically draw your feet towards each other. So even in this pose, imagine that there is a block in between your thighs and you are squeezing that block. Keep that. Internally rotate your left thigh into the midline to hollow the groin. Keep that. Wrap your right glute down and around your hip. Tuck your tailbone to the floor, feeling your lower abdomen engage, and bend that knee so it's directly over your ankle. Okay. Keep all of that alignment in the lower part of your body. Now inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the top of your head so that your side body is long. Exhale, bring your shoulders back, shoulder blades hug together on the back. Gaze over the front middle finger for warrior two. Continue to take a couple deep breaths here, reactivating your Ujjayi breath if you've lost it. Bend the knee just a couple inches more, so again, I can place a cup of water on your thighs if I wanted to and it wouldn't fall. And come back to the breath. On your next exhale, frame your front foot, step back to downward facing dog, and let that go. Taking note of how your body feels if you lost your breath, just coming back to that by slowing your breath way down. And understanding that with the slow breath comes coming back to the present moment. A lot of times our mind likes to take us in the past and in the future. And when we need to come back to present moment, we just need to tap into the breath. And ego doesn't live in the present moment. Ego lives in the past, saying we didn't do this right, or the future, worrying about something, creating anxiety. So that's why this is such a powerful tool to use to come back to being present, where you can be fully present and in your body. All right, one more standing pose and then we're done with the standing poses. So inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the sky so that your side body is long. Exhale, soften between the shoulder blades. Not between the shoulder blades, so your upper back begins to soften. One more time, inhale, bringing the shoulders, arm bones up towards the sky, and then exhale, soften between the shoulder blades so your upper back begins to melt. That's good. That looks good. Okay. Inhale, bring your left leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bring your left foot in between your palms. Bring your front knee over your front ankle, come up to fingertips, and your back foot, your heel is going to be above the ball of your back foot, so both of you look good in that. You can bring the ball just a little bit. Yeah. We'll have a nice stretch in the foot. Good. Now isometrically draw your front foot and your back foot towards each other to turn on your inner thighs and square your hips to the front of the room. Really hug into the midline so that when you lift up and place your hands on your hips, it's going to be more of a float and less of a wiggle. So continue to isometrically draw that front knee or front leg and back leg towards each other. Inhale, bring your hands to your hips. Nice. If you kept the isometrics, you'll notice that you were able to float up with ease. Now keep isometrically drawing your back knee or back foot and your front foot towards each other. Now turn the top of the right thigh into the midline, hollowing the groin. Again, once you do this, you might find that you can bend a little bit more into the front knee. Keep that and then wrap the right glute, or left glute, wrap the left glute down and around the hip, tuck the tailbone to the floor. Keep all that alignment in the lower part of your body. Inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the sky so that your side body is long. Exhale, bring the shoulders back, shoulder blades hug together on the back. From that hug, bring your arms up to the sky, palms facing each other for crescent lunge. Again, reactivating your Ujjayi breath here if you've lost it. Bringing your chest and gaze up towards the sky. Couple more deep breaths here, and remember, if things are getting tough, just coming back to the breath, coming back to the sound, Bringing yourself into the present moment. On your next exhale, frame your front foot, step back to downward facing dog, and let that go. All right. Fortunately, we have two sides, so one left. Inhale, bring the right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, bring the right foot in between the palms. Come up to fingertips, bring your front knee directly over your front ankle. Bring the ball of your back foot directly over the heel of your back foot directly over the ball of your back foot. And widen your stance a little bit. Okay. Isometrically draw your feet towards each other to turn on the inner thighs, squaring the hips to the front of the room. Keeping that, float your hands to your hips. Nice. Do we do this thing? Okay. Okay, take the top of your left thigh into the midline to hollow the groin. So turn the top of the left thigh in. Keep that, wrap your right glute down and around your hip, tuck your tailbone to the floor. Feeling your lower abdomen engage here. Inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the sky so that your side body is long. Keep that length. Exhale, bring the shoulders back. Shoulder blades hug together on the back. From that hug, bring your arms up towards the sky, palms facing each other for crescent lunge. Again, using the breath to bring you to a calm and steady place, and seeing how you can be in a calm and steady place of power in this powerful pose, yet you are calm as you are doing it. Take a couple more deep breaths, look up towards the sky, bend into the front knee just a little bit more. And exhale, bring your hands down to frame your front foot, step back to downward facing dog, and let that go. Walk your dog out a couple times and we'll meet in child's pose. So again, knees as wide as the mat. So you can come into a child's pose if you like. Knees as wide as the mat, hips to the heels. Bow forward, extend your arms out, and come back to your breath. Slowing down the breath here a lot so that you can slow down your heart rate as well and come into a place of rest. Taking a moment to note the shift that you've made in your body through the slowing of the breath, through the Ujjayi breath. And if you can make this shift on the mat, then you can go out and make it in life. If you come across times of stress where maybe you're at work, or maybe you are in traffic, maybe you're having a difficult moment with someone you love, just coming back and using this tool as a tool that you can use to bring yourself back to the present moment and back to a place of calm. Once you're ready, we're going to come to a seated position on the mat. legs extended forward. Again, placing the blanket underneath your hips if that's comfortable. If you do that, just making sure that the blanket is pretty even. Nice. All right, so grab your sit bones into the floor. If you can't feel your sit bones, you can kind of wiggle your little tush and get your sit bones directly onto the floor. Bring your legs out in front of you and press the legs in towards each other, hugging into the midline once again. Inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the sky so your side body is long. Exhale, bringing the shoulders back. Shoulder blades are hugging together on the back. And then we're going to bow forward from our chest. So instead of rounding to get more reach, we want to do this from a place of alignment and a place of safety. So we're more so just thinking of bringing our chest down, and that might look like this. And as you continue to breathe, you can continue to walk your hands forward, just making sure that we're keeping the integrity of our shoulders and our chest open. So I like to think as if I have a piece of thread that's pulling from the middle of my chest down instead of doing this. So once again, if you lost your breath, come back to it. Soften your jaw if you're clenching. Allow your face to feel soft. Continue to breathe into the places that might be a little tight. And on your next inhale, come back up. Place your right foot on the inside of your left thigh. Press your foot into your thigh and your thigh into your foot. So we're using the isometrics again here to hug into the midline. Inhale, bring your shoulders up so your side body is long, shoulders come back, shoulder blades are together on the back. And again, bring your chest down to your thigh, walking it inch by inch, imagining that you have a piece of thread that is extending down so that we don't have the tendency to round in order to reach farther. We want to stay in integrity of our body. Bowing down to our legs, which did so much work for us today. Making sure that your toes are flexed and pointed up towards the sky as well. You don't have floppy dead feet. On your next inhale, coming back to center, extending your right leg out towards me and pressing your left foot into your right thigh. So pressing the foot into the thigh into the foot, making sure that your front foot is active, toes are pointing up. Inhale, bring your shoulders up towards the sky so your side body is long. Exhale, shoulders back, shoulder blades hugging together on the back. Turn and start to lower down towards your thigh. Different side, different story. You might find that one side is a lot tighter than the other. If so, just continue to deepen the breath and send the breath to the areas that are a little bit more tight. Taking one more deep breath here, and on the next inhale, coming back up and rolling down to your back. Hallelujah. Woo. Okay, we're gonna get into happy baby so that we can allow just another hip stretch here with all the work that we did in the lower part of the body. This is gonna feel really good. So go ahead and grab on the inside of your knees, grab the outer edge of your foot with your hands. So you should have your thighs parallel to the ground in a 90-degree angle from your knee and your hip. Yeah, that's good. Now make sure that your feet are active and the soles of your feet are actually flat and pointing like directly up. Yeah, that looks good. Now press down with your hands as you push your feet into your hands. So there's this push-pull action that's allowing more of a hip opening. Continue to do that and make sure that your shoulder blades are on the ground. So if they're not, you can get a strap, which I have, or you can, yeah, that looks good actually. So on your inhale, bringing your shoulders up towards the top of your head. Exhale, walk the shoulder blades underneath you so your chest is open. Continue to pull on the feet as you push into your hands and allow for a deeper hip opening. Again, if you start to feel shaking here, that's really good. So allow the shaking almost as if it is, again, just getting rid of things that you do not need. And continue to breathe. Some people like to rock back and forth in this pose and give their low back a little massage, so you can try that out and see if that feels good. If not, then just stay still. But again, just focusing on that push-pull action so that you can continue to create a deeper opening in the hip. One more deep breath here, and on your exhale, bring your hands to the outside of your knees, close your knees, and give yourself a big hug. Again, maybe rocking back and forth if that feels good, giving the low back a little massage. And then extend your arms out into a T. And lower your knees to the left side of your body as you turn your chest and gaze to the right side of the body. Making sure that your shoulder blades are still both on the ground. Flex your feet and keep your feet active. Again, imagining as if you have that block in between your thighs, so squeezing the thighs towards each other. For a supine twist. Do an adjustment. Good. Mm-hmm. Take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. You can point your nose up towards the sky if that's easier on your neck too. It doesn't have to be. Sure, that's better. Yeah. next inhale, bring your knees to center, and on your next exhale, lower your knees to the opposite side, lowering your knees to the right side of your body and turning your chest and gaze to the left. Again, active feet here, pointing flexed, making sure that you're hugging into the midline and keeping your shoulder blades on the mat. On your next inhale, bringing your knees to center, giving yourself one last tight hug, one last squeeze, sinking your body for the hard work it's done today. And when you're ready, extend your legs out, arms alongside, palms facing up. Bringing the shoulder blades together on the back so the chest is open, allowing the feet to be soft. And I'm going to come around with some essential oil. If you do not want any placed on you, just place your palms facing down. Begin to deepen your breath, relax your jaw, allow your eyes to settle in for Shavasana. Deepening your breath, inviting movement into your fingers and your toes. You're shaking your head back and forth. Take one more deep breath. On your exhale, roll to the right side of your body using your arm as a pillow. Taking one more deep breath here. And on your next inhale, using your hands to help you up to a comfy seated position, keeping your eyelids closed. Bringing your palms together at heart center. Taking one more deep breath as a group, inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. And remembering now that at any time you come across any type of stress or unease, you have a new tool through your Ujjayi breath, your victorious breath, that you can come to and use for that. Namaste.
Namaste. Showing off the lights.
Yeah, I was like, wait, did she put something on my eyes? And I was like, nope. Oh my goodness, my
You
back
almost- you said
is gonna be
the,
sore tomorrow. I remember a long time ago you said that, like when you started your training, you're like, oh, and you tried to show me before. I think that was actually the first time where I did it,
Yeah, it looks good.
and then I almost felt like I was like gonna pinch or something, like a.
Yeah, right here will be a little sore.
It's gonna be sore. And I watched a friend do that the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh my